Welcome back, explorers. My name is Packer and welcome back to yet another Pokémon video. In today's video I'll be showing you designs that I entered into a contest created by TrueGreen7. What I had to do was create two evolutions for one or both of the first stage pseudo-legendary Pokemon that TrueGreen had created. Alright, you can go now, mate. I hope you enjoy what I created because I had fun making them. So without further ado, let's get into this video. The first Pokemon I saw was Bruntame. It's a very interesting looking Pokemon with no true discernible origin from a single animal, as it has both features of reptiles and mammals, with horns, hair and a shell. I was stuck for what direction I wanted to take this Pokemon in, so I looked for clues within its name. Brunt sounds like it can take the brunt of any attack, and Tame implies a friendly nature. So since it appears to be a chimera, I will evolve its features to create Pokemon that become both fiercer and friendlier. Also, here's a Pokédex entry I created for this Pokemon. Bruntame, the chimera Pokemon from Brunt and Tame. A pure dragon type with the abilities Shell Armor and Tough Claws. Bruntame are excellent playmates for children as young as 1 year old. Despite its sharp horns, it is keenly aware that they can harm children and are constantly conscious to the movements of the child they play with, as to avoid any harm they could cause. Now that I've introduced you to TrueGreen7's first design, I will now show you designs I've created. Now, for my first design, it will look like it if Bruntame was in early adolescence, so it transitions well to the final stage I have planned. I'll make its horns on its head slightly bigger and more stubby, and I'll add the addition of 2 extra horns at the back of its head. The hair on its head will become more free and wacky and less uniform. I'll give it a unique facial pattern with a friendly facial expression. Its shell has developed and now protects its underbelly. I'll place a third horn on its shell, and its tail will be topped with fur, and I'll finally pose it in a fighting stance. Now, introducing Bruntine, the Chimera Pokemon from Brunt and Teen. A dragon fighting type with the abilities Shell Armor and Tough Claws. Bruntines are fun-loving and a perfect playmate for children. Their martial arts style fighting techniques are also highly regarded. Combine this with its highly sociable nature, you won't ever need to get a babysitter for your children when you leave the house. I designed this Pokemon to look wacky and a bit weird, and I think that it conveys this very well. Now, onto its evolution and the final stage for this Pokemon line. A perfect balance and blend of friendly and fierce is what I want to create. So I'll start with its head. I'll give a shell helmet with 4 big pointy horns. Its expression will still be friendly. Its body will be comprised of 3 torso segments, all with shells and topped with fur. The middle one will have a horn sticking out the top and side. Its front legs will be mostly covered in fur and sport some powerful claws, whereas the back legs look more mammalian, and finally a tail sticking up in the air. Now introducing Bruntera, the Chimera Pokemon from Brunt and Terra, a dragon fighting type with the abilities Shell Armor, Tough Claws and Friend Guard. Despite its name, Bruntera, like their mid-stage counterpart, are very good with children and are capable of looking after a whole class of children by themselves. They are located far north of Unova, but are very rare. They only seem to exist in captivity and are mostly owned as playmates for the children of the mega rich. One Bruntera was entered in a martial arts competition and was able to karate chop through 11 steel girders in one swipe. I think I carried out my objective perfectly as a blend between a friendly Dragonite and a fierce Haxorus, personality wise of course. Now onto TrueGreen's second design. From when I first saw it, I could tell it was a Trilobite, and its name Trilobite backs my assumption up. The bright in its name suggests that it will eventually evolve into an electric type, and its carapace reminds me of a captain's hat. Trilobites lived in the oceans, so why don't I create an evolution that is a pirate and utilizes the light? But first, let's give this Pokemon a Pokédex entry. Introducing Trilobite, the Trilobite Pokemon from Trilobite and Bright, a bug type Pokemon with the abilities Battle Armor and Overcoat. Trilobite eat a algae which produces bioluminescence. They absorb this ability and gather on shorelines at night to produce magnificent light shows and to socialise with one another. Now that I've introduced you to TrueGreen's second design, I will now create the evolution for it. For my first design, as I've said previously, I'll create a evolution with pirate attributes. So I'll start with its head. I'll shape the first set of scoots from its carapace as a pirate's hat. I'll give it a slightly bigger nose than its Prevo, as well as a friendly expression. The 4 other scoots are angled downwards to look like a captain's coat. The first segment of its torso will have a ring around it, and its arms are positioned in a way that gives this Pokemon the appearance of being an obedient first mate. As for the second segment of its torso, I'll have its arms folded in, as to not make the design too complex for a mid-stage. Now, introducing Trilora, the pirate Pokemon from Trilobite and Pirate, a pure bug-type Pokemon with the abilities Battle Armor and Overcoat. Trilora are the best choice for any sailor or captain in want of a reliable first mate. They are able to emit light that they absorb during the day to aid in sailing through fog and the darkness that night brings. They are also an essential part of the team when taking part in a deep sea salvage operation. If I was in the Pokemon world, I'd have this guy in my arsenal, as I'd personally want to explore shipwrecks for treasure. Now, for its evolution, I'd like to change its profession to that of a samurai. But not only that, its scoots will become solar panels. Its helmet will be that of a traditional samurai, with a couple yellow bands around it. Its carapace will consist of 3 sets of 2 solar panel scoots. Its face will have the nose of its Prevo as well as a similar looking appendage that comes out of its chin that is longer, so it looks like a beard. And its face will sport a serious expression. The first segment of its torso has a band that's shaped like a light bulb. Its first set of arms have solar panels as shoulder pads and are positioned in a way to give this Pokemon a dominant feeling. The second segment of its torso has arms that have developed into samurai swords. Now, introducing Solarai, the samurai Pokemon from Solar and Samurai, a bug electric type with the abilities Battle Armor, Overcoat, and new ability Light Speed. Light Speed increases speed every turn during sunlight, but decreases speed during sandstorms, hailstorms, and rainstorms. Solarai is an underrated powerhouse Pokemon. The power it can exert on its foes is greatest when it is exposed to plenty of sunlight. If you combine this power with its honed fighting techniques, it is assured you can achieve any feat. However, an experienced trainer is needed to complement this Pokemon's gifts during times where there is a lack of sunlight. This is a very cool looking Pokemon, and it does a good job of not looking too human despite being based off of one. Thank you for watching this video. I enjoyed creating it. Please like and subscribe as it... Hey, get out. I'm trying to do the outro here.
Nope.